I'm Monique Kuglitsch, and I'm at the AMS booth at the 2016 General Assembly of the European Geosciences Union. Joining me is Professor Harald Rieder. Thank you so much for coming to the AMS booth. I'm really excited to talk with you. How did you become interested in the atmospheric sciences?
Well, already as a young kid, I was interested in the weather, and then I had two very inspiring high school teachers for geography that kind of sparked that interest and motivated me to kind of pursue studies in the sciences. So that's how I became originally interested in that field.
Great, okay. In broad terms, your research covers climate change and dynamics, atmospheric chemistry and physics, and chemistry-climate interactions. In particular, you've contributed considerably to our understanding of tropospheric and stratospheric ozone and how they're influenced by climate change and emissions policies. In your opinion, do you think that there is sufficient communication between decision makers and the scientific community? For instance, from a scientific perspective, was the outcome of COP21 a success? Why or why not?
Well, starting with the COP21, I would say it was a success because we did not really expect kind of like such a targeted commitment to happen. So kind of like having this broad commitment to limit global warming well below the 2-degree target line was a success. However, like national climate impact plans are lagging behind this goal, so we will see how this develops down the road. Nevertheless, given that there's a 5 to 10 year review purpose for the COP commitments, underpinned by the state-of-the-art science, I would say that there's a promising development ahead, and we learned from the Montreal Protocol and its implementation that such a science-driven impact assessment can work. So I'm positive for the COP21 to hopefully work out in the end. In terms of the communication between science and stakeholders, I think there's always lessons we can learn and how we can improve our joint language in our discussion, and the emerging field of climate services and climate impact has contributed and will contribute to this over the next couple of years and decades.
Okay, so to summarize, so far it's been promising, but we still have a ways to go.
I would say so.
Great. You're from Austria, a local. You studied in both Austria and Switzerland, and you're currently a faculty member at the Wegener Center for Climate and Global Change in Graz, Austria. So I can imagine that you've attended many EGU General Assemblies over the years. As your career has evolved, how has your EGU experience changed?
Well, that changed quite a lot. So I came here the first time in 2007 as a master student, and I remember that this meeting was a little bit intimidating, coming here, seeing thousands of scientists, meeting all the big names on stage for the first time. And as time progressed, I came back as a PhD student, as a postdoc, and now as a faculty member. And what happens is that coffee breaks become more and more important as you meet your peers again and you discuss new projects or discuss about the output of old projects you did. And also kind of like now as a faculty member, you're trying to recruit young talent for your own group. So that became a new important component of that meeting.
I've heard that for many people, they come to EGU more about the networking and working between the sessions rather than actually going to the talks. So it seems like it's, finding a balance between the two. In addition to your time in Europe, you spent several years as a postdoc at the Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory at Columbia University. Were there tangible differences in the working culture on both sides of the pond, and in what ways?
Well, there's some differences. So first of all, US departments tend to be a little bit larger than European ones. So there was a larger number of faculty, there was a larger number of postdocs. But overall, like the open door policy, kind of like in the US and in Europe, so I've been lucky with my advisors, I also want to say, was pretty much the same. And the one thing that's maybe a little bit different is that the US has very innovative and large research centers, such as NCAR and GFDL, and the access to scientists at these research centers was a very valuable contribution to my research over the years in the US. And I enjoyed my time there very much.
Great, that's great to hear. During your position at Columbia, what kind of responsibilities did you have, and how did they help prepare you for your current position as assistant professor?
So I started at Columbia as a postdoctoral fellow, and the first year most of my work was dedicated to project work on this particular project. But as time emerged, new funding had to be acquired, so I got actively involved in the grant writing process and also in the mentoring of students. So that was important lessons to learn, particularly how to write a successful grant that actually will get funded, because that keeps what keeps our science going, and it's an important part of daily work.
Your 2015 paper in the Journal of Applied Meteorology and Climatology was written in collaboration with scientists who are at Columbia. So it seems that your time abroad impacted the direction of your research. You're also actively involved in several international committees and projects. For example, the International Arctic Science Committee and the Tropospheric Ozone Assessment Report. How important are international collaborations and exchanges to further science?
I think international collaboration is really key to the state-of-the-art science, because no department or university has all the resources needed for a successful large project implementation. So kind of like collaborating with a lot of creative colleagues that have different resources and different levels of expertise keeps our science going and contributes to many breakthroughs that we have seen over recent years.
Looking back on your career to date, what advice could you offer students or younger scientists who would like to pursue an academic career?
Well, the first advice I would give is study something you're passionate about. Only this will allow you to go the extra mile that's sometimes needed if you want to pursue an academic career. And the second advice I want to give is pick your advisors carefully. So I was very lucky and had a very inspiring route of mentors down the road, but kind of like having somebody who has your back and who supports you and opens up doors for you is very important in implementing in a career in academia.
Great, thank you so much, Harald. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you, Monique. Thanks for the opportunity.